Mark of the Beast, Part 3. The Image of the Beast. In Part 1 of our series on the Mark of the Beast, we looked at some ideas about what the Mark of the Beast might be. As described in Revelation chapter 13, the mark is a system of control that ends financial and religious freedoms. Without it, you cannot buy or sell. In Part 2 of our series, we asked the question, who or what is the beast? We said that beasts are nothing new in prophecy, and that Daniel the prophet straight up tells us that beasts are kingdoms or empires that are given dominion over God's people. Just like there is an image of the beast in Revelation, there is an image in Daniel. There is a beast in Daniel chapter 7 that corresponds to each part of the image in Daniel chapter 2. There is a beast for the head, a beast for the chest, a beast for the thighs, and a beast for the legs. These beasts, we are told, all correspond to kingdoms that would rule over the Jews in Israel. There is no beast for the toes, however, in Daniel's prophecy. That is most likely because the toes of the image are a long way off into the future. And the toes of the beast is covered not by Daniel the prophet, but instead by John in Revelation. And we said that Revelation is like part 2 of the book of Daniel. The first beast of the toes is the beast of the sea, and we meet this beast in Revelation chapter 13, verses 1 through 7. Based on the lifespan that this beast is given, 42 months or 1260 days, we said that most Protestant interpreters down through history have pinned this particular beast on the Holy Roman Empire. The beast that we are interested in, however, is the one that comes after the sea beast, the one who is of the earth, and we said of the people, and has powers or horns that are split into two. And we surmised that this beast might be the United States. We were careful to point out that this earth beast, or 666 beast, is not the same as the scarlet beast that has the Whore of Babylon. This beast is also not the same as the red dragon beast, who seems to be a continuous, ever-present, behind-the-scenes power, perhaps an unseen empire with no borders or no citizens. We'll talk much more about this hidden power in later sections. So now we come to the image of the beast. The beast was allowed to give breath to the image of the beast, so that the image of the beast should even speak, and to cause those who would not worship the image of the beast to be slain. Revelation 13, verse 15. So we ask, what is the image of the beast? If we break that question down, the simpler question is, what is an image? The type of image that you worship. That's important because many people will say image just means a facsimile or a representation or a reproduction, like Caesar's image and inscription on the Roman coin. But this passage is clearly talking about the kind of image that you worship. So what is an image that you worship? Well, we said, let's let the Bible interpret the Bible. And in the Bible, we find that type of image all over the place. The most obvious one is in the Ten Commandments, which echo nicely the words of Revelation. Exodus chapter 20 verse 3 says, "You shall have no other gods before me. You shall not make for yourself an image in the form of anything in heaven above or on the earth below. You shall not bow down to them or worship them. For I, the Lord your God, am a jealous God." It sounds like a pretty easy commandment to follow, and we often find it hard to believe that the Israelites were stupid enough to fall for the idea of worshiping idols. Jeremiah the prophet pokes fun. Every man is stupid and without knowledge. Every goldsmith is put to shame by his idols, for his images are false, and there is no breath in them. The idea of images with no breath is important and is repeated throughout the Bible to state the obvious differences between lifeless statues and the Almighty Creator of heaven and earth. But when you come to Revelation in the last days prophecy of the earth beast, we see that the Bible axiom no longer applies. Revelation 13 verse 15, the beast was allowed to give breath to the image of the beast. So the images that have no breath now are animated. Another thing that the Bible drives home time and time again is the idea that images or idols cannot speak. Jeremiah again, their idols are like scarecrows in a cucumber field. They cannot speak. They have to be carried, for they cannot walk. Do not be afraid of them, for they cannot do evil, neither is it in them to do good. Isaiah also says the same. They hire a goldsmith, he makes a god. They prostrate themselves, yes, they worship. They bear it on their shoulder, they carry it, and set it in its place, and it stands. From its place it shall not move. Though one cries out to it, it cannot answer, nor save him out of his trouble. And also David in his Psalms. They have mouths, but they do not speak. Eyes they have, but they do not see. They have ears, but they do not hear. Noses they have, but they do not smell. They have hands, but they do not handle. Feet they have, but they do not walk. Nor do they mutter through their throat. They do not speak, they do not mutter, they cannot answer. Even the New Testament drives this home in 1 Corinthians chapter 12, verse 2. You know that when you were heathen, you were led astray to dumb idols, however, may have been moved. But in the time of revelation in the earth beast, in our epoch, images are animated, and idols can actually speak. Revelation 13 verse 15 again. The beast was allowed to give breath to the image of the beast, so that the image of the beast should even speak, and cause those who would not worship the image of the beast to be slain. Alexa and Echo and Sophia and Nest don't just speak. They create a whole record of your life, just like the book of life in Revelation. They are like the new Egyptian god Horus, the omniscient eye in the sky. If this technology seems like a Trojan horse, that's because it is. This is like a dream come true for mankind, who has forever dreamed of creating automatons in his image. Whether we look back to the 1960s Hollywood shows about living dolls and robot girlfriends, or whether we go all the way back to 500 BC with the story of Pygmalion, the sculpture that came to life. It is the same. Romans chapter 1, verse 22. Wherefore God also gave them up to uncleanness through the lusts of their own hearts, to dishonor their own bodies between themselves, who worshipped and served the creature more than the Creator, professing themselves to be wise. They became fools, and changed the glory of the incorruptible God into an image made like to corruptible man. And in 1 Corinthians chapter 3 verse 19, we're told that the wisdom of this world is foolishness with God. And it's probably no coincidence that the most famous robot, Sophia, has a name which literally means wisdom in Greek. For the Sophia of this world is foolishness with God. So image worship is nothing new. The images simply got much more sophisticated. We're not talking about a sculpture or an automaton anymore. We will discuss this more in a future segment. Revelation is not the only book to mention forced worship of an image. Naturally, the Christians would have already experienced forced burning of incense to the emperors Nero, Diocletian, and Caligula. The Jews, too, in the Old Testament captivity, back in the book of Daniel, also experienced the same predicament described in Revelation. Worship the image or die. Reading from Daniel chapter 3 verse 15 about Daniel's three friends Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, they are told by the king, "Now if ye be ready that at what time ye hear the sound of the cornet, flute, harp, sackbut, psaltery, and dulcimer, and all kinds of music, ye fall down and worship the image which I have made, well. But if ye worship not, ye shall be cast the same hour into the midst of a burning fiery furnace. And who is that God that shall deliver you out of my hands?" In Daniel's friend's case, the choice was worship the image or get burned in fire. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego answered the king. Daniel 3, verse 16. We have no need to answer you in this matter. If it be so, our God whom we serve is able to deliver us from the burning fiery furnace, and he will deliver us out of your hand. But if not, be it known to you, O king, that we will not serve your gods, or worship the golden image which you have set up. Interestingly, in Revelation, the fire punishment is reversed. In Revelation, you must refuse to worship or get burned. Revelation 14, verse 9, if anyone worships the beast and its image and receives a mark on his forehead or on his hand, he also shall drink the wine of God's wrath poured unmixed into the fire of his anger, and he shall be tormented with fire and sulfur. In the case of Daniel's three friends, the God of Israel was able to save them from the fire of Nebuchadnezzar. But do you really think that the image of the beast can save you from the fire of the God of Israel? Probably not. So in conclusion, the image of the beast is an animated, talking idol that must be worshipped under penalty of death. In Revelation, we face a difficult decision. So what do? Do we refuse to worship the image and be killed? Or do we worship the image and suffer the unmixed wrath of God? The appropriate answer to this question is, we have no need to answer you, the beast, in this matter. Our God whom we serve is able to deliver us from the image of the beast, and he will deliver us out of your hand. But if not, be it known to you that we will not serve your gods or worship the image of the beast which you have set up. In our next section, we will talk about modern idol worship. Hopefully during this study, we can recognize that idolatry has never been more prevalent than it is today. Hopefully we can recognize that idolatry has never been more successful than today. Recognize that nothing has changed, except that the situation in this time and place is more critical than any other time in history. Idols are still around, succeeding at their mission, taking full control of your soul is their mission. Taking your essence, your being, your identity, your makeup, your values, your desires, your mind, your heart. Hopefully we can recognize that we are all speeding towards the end, and idol pushers are working even harder because they know that their time is short. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea, it says in Revelation 12, verse 12. For the devil is come down unto you, having great wrath, because he knoweth that he hath but a short time.